Hello there, darlings. It is day 23 of Nancy Guthrie missing. I really thought we would find her by now, and there's been a lot of effort. There's been a lot of what I don't think is effort. And you know what I mean. We started with this map, for those of you just tuning in. We started with this map. I printed it February 3rd. Now, I did not start reading for Nancy right away because I wanted to make sure that it was the right fit. And you know, sometimes I'll ask if I'm supposed to read on a particular case and it'll say no, or it'll say stay away, or whatever the case. I'm the type of person, I don't jump in because it sometimes is an intrusion of the energy. If I'm asked, if it becomes a big national case or worldwide case like Nancy Guthrie, okay, I'll chime in. But especially if it's either local or localized or regional, it's very hard for me to do that because there is a certain etiquette, I feel. And I've always been and abide by that etiquette. Just want you to know that. In a nice little place today. The sun is shining. The cats are meowing that are here with me. And yeah. And now, got a few things that I want to show you. But before we do, we're running out of paper. We're going to have to start another sheet. We left off on the 21st. Now I'm going to mark here. Up. I got a new pen today. Got to take the little thing off. Okay. We're going to mark here February 22nd of 2026. This was Sunday. I didn't read yesterday. So I'm just going to put here no readings. But I did put out a reading on True Oracle, Fate, and Fortune, and I will put that link here in the comments so you don't miss that. And it's all about how I ask if I'm supposed to read on a particular case. It's very interesting. So now, today, my darlings, we're going to have another piece of paper tomorrow. We're going to keep going until she is found, okay? And I can't spell. All right, so 23rd of 2026. Slow down. Monday. And it is approximately 3:33. Yes, I did that on purpose. PM. Now, let's do a little numerology. And some of you are like, well, wait a minute, how can you add that? And you're going back and forth and you're whatever. Because, my darlings, that's what numerology is all about. You work all the numbers, and especially in my particular Zelda codex, the case studies, the forensic, because I consider myself a forensic intuitive, a forensic tarot profiler. And you know what? You're going to see with me, I tell it the way it is. I'm not woo-woo. I wish I were. I wish I were one of these woo-woo, beautiful readers out there that, whatever. I have just been, I approach this more scientifically. It's not wrong. It's not right. That's just me. Let's add these up. This is a 2. This right here is a 5. This right here is a 10. We reduce that one more time. So far we have 8. Now, this is the what? The second day of the week. Yes, the week, if you look at a calendar, the week starts on a Sunday. It doesn't start on Monday. Your work week may start on Monday, but the week starts on Sunday. That's how you count it. So now we have 10 here. Okay? We add the 8 plus the 2, and this is 10. Let me start this over. We reduce this. 1 plus 0 equals 1. I think we're back down to 0 again. Now we are here. Look at this. 3, 6, 9. We'll add the 1 plus the 9, and we are back at another 10. See, everything keeps pointing to ground zero. But you can take the numbers individually. The 2 is definitely a partnership number. 2 people working especially together. Now, I believe that there are 3. I've always thought that. And you know, sometimes things fall out. Things are getting kind of hairy, right? But then we take this and it comes to 10. We add these together with the day. It adds to 10. And then we do this and it adds to 10. So 10, 10, 10 is 30. Now, you can do one more. You can do, instead of doing the, so we're, see all the 10s? There's a 10 here, there's a 10 here, there's a 10 here. Now, let's just, for the heck of it, we add all the 10s. There's 3 10s, that's 30. So 3 plus 0, we break that down, right? 30 equals 3. 3, 6, 9. This would be adding this 3 to this. It becomes 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. And we're back to 3 again. 3 people that are involved. I know it's confusing, but believe me, numbers don't lie. Energy doesn't lie. All kinds of things. Okay? So, we've got this. I got a few things that I want to tell you today. And this is the map from Tucson, Arizona. And yes, some people are saying, no, you're spelling Tucson, because I sometimes spell it T-U-S-C-O-N. There are filters that look over channels and videos and all kinds of things. Sometimes you just have to be a little codex, right? Okay. Bear with me now. Bear with me. Here is the map that we looked at. And we looked at this map on the 21st, I believe. And we looked at this map, and you can see that video. It is the dark theory video. What if, and there is a lot of evidence that goes from Tucson to Grand Junction, Colorado. I'm not going to get into that today. There is the topographical photo of Nancy's house. And we're going to leave this energy out here for a minute. I have cleared it. We're good. We have the iron key. I'm going to talk about iron in a minute. Most of you would like to see my rods, and here they are. Yeah. Would never guess that these are rods, would you? I don't know where I picked these up. You may have to look for them somewhere. But, you know, sometimes when I go places, all I have to do is put these in a pocket. No one knows. No one knows. Just my little secret. But here's what happens. You pull it out like this, and then the handle is like this. Now, they're too big for a demonstration, but this is pretty much what they do. Okay, you hold them like this. Let me put this other one out. You just mechanically work it this way. We'll make this a little shorter here. See, you can do that anyway. See? And there's a lot of energy here. Do you see how they're swinging? I'm going to just rest them over this map, and I'm going to ask them. Yeah, see, it's picking up on Nancy's energy, and it's crossed. Can you tell me? Well, we're not going to do this today because it needs to be different energy. So they're okay. Okay. All right, so the energy will break that off. It's not really good to do this demonstration because there's not enough room. You're not going to see it. But I wanted to show you my rods, and here they are. Beautiful, beautiful little rods. And they have gotten a lot of work. They're made out of kind of a brass. You smell them when you pull them out. You ever smell brass? Okay, putting those away. I want to talk to you about a couple of things before we get the cards out. Yesterday, I watched JLR. Now, I want you to know, I kind of sort of watched him. He has been, JLR, in this area right here. I believe that's where it is, the Saguaro National Park West. Yeah, he's getting some messages many of you are sending. Many other readers are knowing the same thing, and he has been up on that mountain. But I'm going to tell you something. This is a vast, vast area. I'm also going to tell you one other thing. My understanding that the sheriff says this has not gone cold. It's just a little chilly. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, it means he's being stubborn. He's chasing away the media because he says it's too hard for that area. And you know what? When it becomes too difficult to set up and the media, it's just a pain. Well, eventually they're just going to go off onto other stories. And they're going to leave Nancy, and if the story breaks, okay. Now I want you to know another thing is I have read that there are some stories about a former, I don't like to say ex, a former FBI agent who said if they could take over this case, they would have found Nancy. And this person says it is disgusting because this sheriff will not allow it to happen. Now, what's going on with him? I don't know, except that I think that it's all political, postured, and pomp and circumstance. And he's made a lot of mistakes, in my opinion. 1 minute we're over here, 1 minute we're over here. Now, I'm going to also tell you this. Those perpetrators who took Nancy are watching. If they had her over here, and we're going to check the pendulum again soon. We're not going to wear it out. I don't do that. We're going to check it soon. She may have moved. They may have moved her. Because now you see there's a lot of focus on this. Do I know? I know because the cards and the energy and the numbers don't lie that these perps have been infiltrating as just a regular person walking up and down the street of Nancy. They want to know. They want to know which way the wind's blowing. They want to know what's going on. Now, I'm also going to tell you another little thing that happened. There were two women that were out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house. You may have seen that yesterday. These were two Hispanic women. I know that they had the best intention in mind. But they had a few little things. One had a shovel. One had a little shovel. There, that's my shovel. And one had a rod that was shaped like this. This rod, most likely, this rod was most likely iron. Why? They were not with a cult. They were not with anything except that they are connected to energies. And everyone's like, why are they doing it? Because they went into Nancy's yard. No, they should not have done that. But I don't really know if they knew better. They didn't appear that they spoke English. They're just trying to be helpful. I think that they were part of the group, the search group. I think it's Mothers for the Missing or something like that. I'm not sure what group that is, but a lot of them have been there. And this is what they do. Because let's think about this. A lot of peoples are connected to the earth, to the land. And it's just like what they used to call a dowsing rod. This is another rod that will attract positive energy. Now, what were they doing? They were going around in areas and they were probing the earth, the ground. Was there anything that looked like it was just freshly covered over? They were poking down into culverts. They were poking around rocks. They were smelling, because the earth cannot hold a lie. Don't know if you know that. Anytime there is anything violent, and that's what this is, the earth doesn't resonate well with it. It becomes unsettled. And they were checking to see if there were any signs of Nancy or evidence. Now, of course, people got their little bowels in an uproar, and they called the sheriff, and you know what, I get it, and they were trespassing. Okay, all right, it's kind of a push-pull there. And the sheriff came out. These two ladies left. The sheriff came out. I think if they would have still been there, most likely they would have arrested him for trespassing. It would have been very unfortunate to a certain degree, but they shouldn't be walking on this sort of thing. However, sheriff and sheriff's department put up a sign that says no trespassing or active crime scene, or put up some tape because there was somebody driving in her driveway. Looked like they had to deliver some flowers or birthday balloons or something to some other home. And this gets confusing. People that are not, you know what, not everybody knows exactly what this location is all about. Now, that's what I wanted to share with you, because there has been some, I think they were saying, oh, what the heck are they doing? Are they crazy? No, they're not. Because many times in law enforcement, they'll set out iron rods to mark a grid. Many times in kidnapping cases internationally, they will set them out. Yes, that has a particular looking shape, and it's so it attracts and repels at the same time. It will repel evil enough so if anybody wants to come in, say like with me, with my little pendulum, or with my little rods, it flattens that negative energy. So my rods don't start jerking, or my pendulum doesn't start going haywire. It helps to balance the frequency and the vibration of the earth. This is to help settle. That's what it's for. And they were actively searching. Now, the sheriff says he wants permits to search. Yippee-yi-yay. He's making it very, very hard. And for any law enforcement or anyone who's watching here, I understand, and I'm not going to encourage anybody to go out and do this on their own for many reasons. First of all, I think it's dangerous. If you're going out to see if you find evidence like Gabby Petito, then yes, and I do believe a lot of people that are they're wanting to see signs. They're not going to approach anyone if they see anyone with Nancy. But it's still a dangerous gig. You're not dealing with people that will shake your hand and say, oh, hi, welcome, come on and have some iced tea. So you got to be careful. And I know that that's number one that needs to be avoided. I'm going to come over here for a second. I've heard something that disturbs me a little bit. I don't know if it's true. And I don't like to say, oh, here's, whatever. But this sure falls in line. I've been trying to find out. And first of all, I have looked, and Nancy does not have a public trust. So I don't know if she signed trust documents. People are saying, oh yeah, Tommaso, whatever. And sometimes you have to be careful when you start repeating things like this without factual. I looked in the courthouse because a lot of those things are public. I didn't see anything. I did not see anything. And of course, there's not going to be anything probated because as far as everyone is concerned, until she is declared no longer here. And in the upper room, if you know what I mean, there's not going to be a probate. But what I did hear, and what I am sort of kind of seeing, and I'm working on getting, and if I'm wrong, I'll say, you know what, I was wrong. But here's what I saw. There was a $10 million life insurance policy that was taken out and signed by Nancy Guthrie 11 days before she was taken. Family was the people who would be inheriting. Now, I think we can look back just a little just a little ways. We can look back. You know, back in Texas, about 34 years ago, there was a cold case, an unsolved case that they just solved not long ago. It turned out the victim's friend was the person that committed the crime of giving that person a ticket to paradise. And it was a friend. And this friend went out on searches. This friend, pretended that they were concerned. 34 years it took. Now, look at Rob Reiner. Look at his son, Rob and Michelle Reiner. He was in court. He looks gaunt and horrid and not very pleasing. This was done supposedly, allegedly, because, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Got me? Yes. But he did that because there was an argument. It's usually over money, relationship, or mental issues, or all three put together. And family is the number one. Now, I have issue right now, and I'm going to say it, and this is my opinion. If this were my mother, I would be out there scratching and clawing. The nails would come off, the lashes would come off. I would unscrew the weave would come off, and I'd be out there in the desert scratching to find my mama. There's a piece of this puzzle that I want to bring, two pieces of the puzzle that I want to bring up. Number one, this first piece of the puzzle is the ring camera. Or it's not a ring, it's a Nest. The Nest camera. Everybody's like, oh, the guy's trying to hold up these flowers to hide who he is. Maybe they thought that was an enticement to get Nancy to the door. What's going on? Maybe I'll just open up that door, because sometimes when you're older, and it was that time of night, maybe you're just thinking, what? Okay? I think there was something else there. That's number one. Number two, how do we know that Tommaso dropped Nancy off? Because he said so. We don't have any proof. We don't have anything. Now, if his car has some type of relay system, if you will, or a counting system in the dash that's built in, or GPS, or recorder, sometimes those can be taken out and analyzed. Annie Guthrie was taken in and detained when her vehicle was taken. And of course she's released now. But why is it that Tommaso and Savannah's husband can just be flitting and flying all over the bloody world instead of being demanded to be coming home. What is going on? And why are we just taking this guy's word for it? How do we know? How do we know he dropped her off? How do we know he did not go inside with her and disconnect these things? How do we know this? Well, there's got to be some type of Nest camera footage. I still think that there is. I still believe that he may not be a suspect. He may not be a person of interest, but I do believe that he may be top of the list because there's something wrong. And I know that many of you agree with me. Ask yourself that question. And ask yourself why the sheriff is, because Savannah can do a lot of damage if she got on NBC, or if she publicly said, you know what, the sheriff is not cooperating, he's attacking my family, blah, blah, blah. He already has enough crap going on, right? He's just worried about re-election, but he has however much longer, and it's not like he didn't butt heads before with the feds, because he has. He jumped the gun and said, they're not. I'm releasing them. Bull. Wait, where is my big book of bull? Let me get it. Where is it? Where is it? It's in here somewhere, my friends. It's in here somewhere. Let me look. I've got all kinds of things I've written down here. There it is. This belongs in the big book of bull. You never, ever, ever release anyone. I don't care who they are, or who you are, or who I am. Never. Sheriff, call me. We got to talk. Because this is unheard of. Now, if this is true, that becomes motive for the family. Do I believe that that there is a connection between this and perhaps Grand Junction? I'm certainly not going to discount it. Because, listen, two things change family, and that is the death of a loved one and money of a loved one. Watch. It happens almost in every family. Somebody becomes an enemy. Somebody, an enemy's enemy is an enemy's friend. And you start seeing people take sides and nobody's gotten enough. You watch and see. I've seen cases where there was someone given a ticket to the upper room because someone passed away and they thought that if they were taken out, they would get their share. And guess what? The person they planned on taking out took the other person out first. You see how that is? It warps people. Now I'm going to tell you why a lot of you have a hard time fathoming this and understanding. Is because you would never think us doing something like this to begin with. When we have a hard time mentally of thinking, how could you do this to a family member? How could you do this to a loved one? You're going to do it in the name of money. You know you're going to pass away one day, and then you got to face your real judgment and the person that you took out or arranged. But you see, the people that do this don't have morals to begin with. I saw two ladies yesterday on a live stream praying. Thank you. That certainly, prayer changes things. It certainly helps. And then saying, we're just asking those people to give your heart to Jesus. Please stop. Please stop. You don't beg evil to come to the Lord because the evil has already made their decision. Please, please. You have to have righteous anger. And in this part, and what's going on, this is getting out of control. And I wonder if they will ever find Nancy. I was told last night by a source that I have that this genealogy DNA can take years. And the longer that we go on, the probability of finding Nancy intact, in alive, or all alive, sorry, you see, I get passionate, intact and alive goes down, down, down. Who benefits if this exists? If, that's a big question here, my folks. If this exists, but we know a home does, we know that she may have other assets. I mean, Savannah's not supporting her to a certain degree, but let's talk about Savannah now for just a moment. And I'm going to get the cards. Hang with me. I've seen many of say, "Oh my gosh, she's worth 40 million." So what? That's peanuts. That's worth. She only makes 8 million a year. Only? Yes, only. And she's probably mortgaged up. I've seen people with a heck of a lot more than this broke, asset rich, cash poor. That's why a lot of these high net wealth industrials and business people get kidnapping insurance to pay ransoms. Why? Well, because if you are a billionaire, you don't just have 2 or 3 billion laying around in your home safe. And if you try to go to the bank and arrange that, believe me, no bank. I have a client who went to a bank the other day, draw $10,000, and had to wait 48 hours until the bank accumulated. And that's just the way it is, because banks don't hold cash. Period. Small amounts, but not those big amounts. This $6 million ransom in Bitcoin has always bothered me, only because it's not enough. This is somebody playing around, and right now we see that. Because in any type of kidnapping, it's one and done. They take somebody, they immediately make arrangements. They'll call and say, "Listen, if you call law enforcement, here's your loved one, say something," and then the loved one says something, and then it's all about, if you don't have this money, if you don't have, this should be at least 30 mil if it were real. If you don't have this money in the next XYZ hours, I'll send you a little gift in a box in the mail until you get it. That's motivation. I have not seen any GoFundMes, because I don't care if she's worth 40 million. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. On paper, everybody's worth something. She's, I'm sure, got houses and everything is mortgaged up and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And that's how it's all figured. I'm sure Cameron and Annie can't contribute to this. So we have another layer here. Where does this other layer come from? Usually, sometimes, those people who are close do stupid things to throw off an investigation. They dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And now I'm going to get down off my pulpit and get my cards. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Sorry about the rant. But you can see how passionate I am about these cases. And I'm just as passionate if I am talking to any type of law enforcement. That's just the way it is. If I don't understand something, I want to be told. Because after all, law enforcement would hang on every word I have to say and would cut me to the quick if it weren't right. But hello. The tide of the battle sometimes needs to turn. By the way, if you haven't picked up a deck, a digital copy of the Crime and Shadow cards or the House of Zelda cards, they are on sale now. I'm going to say maybe until tomorrow, and I have another treat coming for you too. The treat is going to be the Catacomb cards. They will be out hopefully this week. They will be on a pre-sale, $14, 36 cards, and I call them the Psychic Archaeology, and they are the Veil Keep edition. They're House of Zelda cards, but they're Veil Keep edition based on the catacombs below Veil Keep. Okay, here we are. People say, but Zelda, don't you have more? We see these cards all the time. I do have more cards. But when you read for a case and a deck of cards like these becomes seasoned, why? It ain't broke. We're not going to fix it. Here we are, my darlings. We're just going to put out a few cards today. Right, so here we are. Now, let's see where this leads us. Let's see. Back to the house. Back to the house. There's something there in that house. And today, that numerology, where is it? Takes us back to square one in many instances. Now, if we stopped here at the 9 would say, look, it's almost complete, but it doesn't feel that way. First of all, find Nancy. Why are we playing around? Find Nancy. It's almost like there are roadblocks everywhere. So we've got to take it by the house. And ironically enough, there was a full moon the night that Nancy went missing, by the way. And people say it's pitch black. I want to know what the weather was that night, because in the light of a full moon, things may become different. Things may become different. But I just want to know that if this tomato fellow, you know who I mean, dropped off Nancy, what do? Just drop her off at the end of the driveway and skippity-doo done. Of course, no, he's probably pulled in. But why don't you wait there? Why don't you walk her in the house? She's your mother-in-law. She's 84 years old. So the garage door goes up. How do we know? How do we know who put the garage door down? Come on. Come on. I know the FBI knows what we're talking about. If you're, I was going to say if your FBI put a 1 in the chat. No, don't do that. Oh. You see, you know what this card tries to tell us? We are past that ordinary moment. This is the last moment of normalcy that Nancy had in her home. We're past that ordinary moment. That gives me chills when that card comes out, because it gives it confirmation of, yeah, sort of, kind of, we are there. What's on the bottom of this deck? I'm going to say my opinion, and that is, do I believe Nancy? And I pray I'm wrong. I do not believe that she is here. I believe she got her ticket to the upper room shortly after she was taken. The cards continue to say it. I believe the cards 99.8% time they're right. I'm hoping this 2% makes me wrong. Let's check these out. This fellow right here. I happen to love this card. This is the decision, and the fact that the moons are full. Do you see this? The confirmation the moons are full. The fact that this card comes out. There was a choice that could be made. And you see the moon here, which is a full moon. And by the way, if you get these cards and you mount them, they are going to look like this the more that you use them. They're going to get rough around the edges, so don't worry. That means that you're using them and they're working. This right here, my darlings, there's either the right side or the wrong side. There's a choice. At any given moment, that choice could have been made to turn around and flee. But we technically have people that are on the run that know exactly where Nancy is. And I'm going to say there are more people who know who took her. Cloaked, hidden, and I believe closer to Nancy than what we expect. And even if they came back and said, yep, it was family, if, supposedly, allegedly, if they said that, yeah, it was family, I would still be shocked. I would still be shocked. Let me see here. Lots of energy here today. I've been feeling the energy here. Okay. I do believe we're going to hear something come out very quickly, swiftly, as in out of the blue. Somebody's going to get creative, and I can almost bet we may get another ransom note, or we're going to get a message. There's going to be something happen, and I'm going to say within the next 72 hours. This gal right here, this Queen of Wands, very creative intuitively. So this means somebody is getting creative. And I'm sure at this point that all monitors are watching family members. Who's calling? Who's not calling? Where the person is going? Are they using a burner phone? Are they using a pay phone? Are they going to a friend's house? Are they calling from another friend? Oh, yeah. That's how it works. There's going to be an opportunity to understand and to know. Now, this is a very interesting card. This is the Four of Swords. I know, but Zelda, there's only 3. No, there's 4, my darlings. There's the 4th one down here. Now, the interesting thing about this card, right up here, you see we've got a priest fellow here in this mosaic, I guess, stained glass. Above his head, you're going to see the letters P-A-X. That is Latin for peace. As in rest in peace. If you want to know the truth, I don't believe that they did that on purpose. I believe that she was overcome. And sometimes that can be scary. Kidnapping's one thing. Getting a Shemoida charge is another. This king is still calm and stoic. He's an air sign, and it's a double-edged sword. He's either darned if he does and darned if he doesn't at this point. And these people, they may be as tough as and I think that they are involved in a much bigger group. But you know, sometimes the little minions that are held responsible and can't sing like a canary. And you know what I mean. Turn the big fish in. They get scared. Because they've been promised things that aren't. You know, the devil will promise you wonderful things and never deliver. And that's the situation I believe here. There's a bigger person who's promising, and maybe even promised a family member to assist in taking this out for a particular amount of money. We don't know, but listen, stranger things have happened at sea. And I'm not accusing anyone. I just want you to know everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And it would be nice if you say something about somebody in the comments, just put IMO, in my opinion. So here's the thing. This is a communication card. I think it's going to be creative communication, and they are definitely going to set some boundaries in a very creative way that will open doors. I just am not convinced that there's going to be Nancy. Yeah, everybody has hope. There's the water there. But I think setting anchor, meaning buckling in, hunkering down, as they say. We have a judge here. Could we be getting another warrant somewhere? Well, probably. Definitely money is involved, and there is a definite sadness attached to this case. I would be very sad if it was my mom. I mean, I know how I feel if my cat ran outside, right? Oh my God. I would be like, crazy woman. And quite frankly, for a long time, this is exactly why I didn't do any of these missing persons cases. All of this emotion, having mothers beg you to find their kids, people beg you to find their loved ones. It is just unbelievable emotion and heart-wrenching. It's horrible. All right, let me turn that around so you can see it. Okay, my darlings, here we go. Lump sum of money. Oh, and she shows up. That's the third chick. We haven't seen her in a couple of days. Definitely some hidden things. Here we go with the Cartomancy. For me, tells the tale. Lots of paperwork. There's some letters coming. It's going to be a demand for telephone. And this right here, my darlings, is a lump sum of money. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that it might be 10? But that 10 has something to do with it. And this right here, it's a financial uncertainty. Financial uncertainty, however, this card can also mean a rapid recovery. So if they paid this person who allegedly, supportedly, maybe contacting, or maybe that a judge signs a warrant and picks somebody up. Listen, this whole thing, oh, what a tangled web you weave. This thing is getting webbed. It is a tangled web. So I want to just kind of keep it straight and take a breath. And know whoever is involved is going to find out. But here's a card of education. This is all about learning. It is all about changing a situation. It's all about taking a test. It's all about education. Read what you will. This card right here can really set the day. I need one more. And there is the main guy. I believe he's very earthy. I believe he's very earthy. And technically that is a sign of Virgo, but it could be any earth sign. But it could be an invitation for them to come down to earth. I don't really read signs like that, but it's helpful sometime if you can identify people, right? And if you'd like to read cards like me, I wrote a Cartomancy book, ebook. You can get it and read cards tonight. The same with the tarot. And I'll leave the links in the description for that psychic shop. So I think we're going to see some things coming. It's not going to be so chilly for long. There's bound to be something, because we are in a Mercury retrograde shadow period. And this Mercury retrograde shatter period is going to make it, it's just really going to make feel like you're taking egg beaters to everything and go, here you go, here you go, here you go. And then all of a sudden, all this information is going to start sifting to the top. We have to remain and see and bless Nancy. Oh yeah. See this right here is judgment, but look at this card. Wow, I could go on, but this is a judge. This is a courtroom. Yeah, So no, I do not, unfortunately. And I have to preface that by saying, I pray I'm wrong. Let's find Nancy, my darlings, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.